In the summer of 2014, Andre Schurrle had the world at his feet. He had just finished a fairly successful first season at Chelsea after his £18 million transfer from Bayer Leverkusen, and as a result of that season, Schurrle was picked in the Germany's World Cup squad that was heading to Brazil. In the World Cup, Schürrle scored twice, including twice against Brazil in the semi-finals, and then assisted the goal for Mario Götze in the final that saw Germany win the FIFA World Cup. Now a world champion, Andre Schurrle was a valuable asset for Chelsea to have, and when the following season Schürrle was no longer happy playing a squad role due to incredible competition in those places at Chelsea at the time, Schürrle wanted out, and Chelsea cashed in. Like De Bruyne the previous season, Schürrle was headed to Wolfsburg to see a similar sort of return for himself. This decision could be picked as the point where it all went wrong for Andre Schurrle. So welcome to UW Football, and today we will be looking into what happened to Andre Schurrle. First, let's address why Chelsea were happy to let Schürrle leave. In the previous 18 months, Schürrle had contributed to 14 goals. This for a squad player isn't that bad. The problem with Schürrle was that he preferred to play down the left wing, and the guy that he was competing for that position was named Eden Hazard, and Hazard was quite a bit better than him. So whenever Schürrle played for Chelsea, he was forced to play on the right hand side, and when Schürrle displayed his unhappiness due to being played out of position, Jose Mourinho took that opportunity to use the money that he would get from Andre Schurrle to sign Juan Cuadrado, who was a more traditional right winger. The club that snapped up Andre Schurrle was Wolfsburg, who signed him for £22 million. For Andre Schurrle, Wolfsburg was a step down, but later in an interview with Bild, Schürrle stated that Joachim Löw was the guy that recommended him this move. Wolfsburg were an exciting team at the time. They had Perisic, De Bruyne, and an informed Bastos all on their books, and they were sitting second in the Bundesliga. At Wolfsburg, Schürrle would have an opportunity to compete for the league title, and he would also be playing regularly. The first 6 months at Wolfsburg went perfectly for Andre Schurrle. He won the DFB-Pokal, he was a starter, and he even won a Premier League medal due to his contribution with Chelsea in the first half of that season. But then in the summer, two of Wolfsburg's star players moved on. De Bruyne joined Manchester City, whereas Ivan Perisic moved over to Inter. As a result of these departures, Wolfsburg fell from 2nd to 8th, but Schürrle himself was still very good there. He played in every single game that he was available in. He scored 9 times and assisted 5, and played a prominent role in Wolfsburg's run to the Champions League quarterfinals. These performances, however, meant that Schürrle was once again a very valuable player to have in your team, and with Wolfsburg no longer playing Champions League football, they had to sell a bunch of their players to balance their book. And what better way to do that by letting go of your most valuable asset? Schürrle was once again on the move. He was sold to Borussia Dortmund for €2 million less than what Wolfsburg had initially paid for him. At Dortmund, Schürrle was back in the position that he was at Chelsea. He was competing with Marco Reus for the left wing spot, and with Marco Reus being significantly better than him, Schürrle was once again either pushed to the right hand side or in most cases was just left on the bench. In his 2 seasons at Borussia Dortmund, Schürrle managed to score only 3 goals and featured only 33 times in the Bundesliga, and with Jadon Sancho breaking through, Borussia Dortmund were more than happy to cut him loose. But there was a problem. No one wanted to pay the fee to bring Schürrle out of Dortmund. So as a result, he was first loaned out to Fulham, where he was benched just after 24 match days. The reasoning for that was his poor attitude. Fulham fans believed that Schürrle thought that he was bigger than the club, so it was no surprise that when Fulham went down, they did not activate the buy-in clause in his contract. In the summer of 2019, Schürrle was once again on the move. This time, he ended up in Russia with Spartak Moscow. He scored once in 13 games there and again was allowed to return to Borussia Dortmund, where Schürrle terminated his contract and then announced his retirement at the young age of 29. Let's look to see where it all went wrong for Andre Schurrle. Schürrle had the potential, but the right tutelage to keep his mind right was probably missing from quite early on. He was seen as the golden boy at Mainz and then again at Bayer Leverkusen. The love he got there probably kept him at his best, but once he moved to Chelsea, he became just another player. That was a hit on his ego. Schürrle was only 23 at the time and he was playing regularly, and if he would have been patient, things could have been quite different for him. Just look at Heung-min Son at Tottenham Hotspur. He was in a similar sort of position after his first year in the Premier League. Pochettino convinced him to stay, and look where he is right now. Schürrle could have been the same, but instead, he moved over to a club with potential, but a club that was unstable. Just when he was getting the love that he was looking for at Wolfsburg, he was let go because the club needed the money, and then once again he found himself in a similar position as Chelsea at Borussia Dortmund. At Fulham, Schürrle could have been the main man again. If he would have kept his ego in check, a Premier League club could have picked him up in the summer, but he messed his chance up there. He was unhappy to be at a club that was fighting relegation, and then once again after playing half-heartedly in Russia, he came to terms of reality, and that's where we are right now. Personally for me, I do not mind his decision. A lot of players are done quite early on, and instead of taking a step back and moving on with their life, they continue to live the life of a footballer and end up just being a journeyman. It's fine you call it a day if you no longer fit in. You have the finances and you are set for your life. Try and find something new, try and find yourself again. I had no issues when David Bentley did this after his exit from Tottenham Hotspur, and I certainly do not have any issues with Andre Schurrle's decision. So yeah, this was a video on what happened to Andre Schurrle. Like, subscribe, have a good day, and I will see you very soon.